Looks like you're ready. Click here to start. Okay, I gotta hit go live. Now I'm live. Now I'm live. And looking good. Looking good. All right, people. Hello. Tony D. And Little Joan. Little Joan. She's so tiny. Little Joan. Little Joan. I'm a little punchy because I was just at Clement Farms. Blueberry Farm, people. Blueberry Farm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The blueberries were flowing at Clement. So I'll just tell you briefly about the signing whilst wait, see if anybody shows up for this thing. Anybody here? I see people. Ardent had to bail. He's got a live stream of his own. Everybody does a live stream. So I went to Clement Farms for the Blueberry Festival. It was a nice day. Super hot. Very hot. The initial weather was predicting rain, which would have been very bad. But instead we've got blazing humid sun, which I preferred because then I didn't have to worry about my stock. JEC, hi, hi, hi. Hi to you. Welcome. And what else? I sold a bunch of books. The night before I went to Glassboro, and we were in the middle of the park. That was very rainy, scary for me with books. But the tent held up pretty good. I broke the tent today. Pieces of it have broken off. I'm not sure it's going to work for next weekend, but we'll see. I have a plan, if it's broke, to tape it, which is usually my plan for everything, by the way. I just tape it. I just duct tape it, and it works. I've done that for years. So I think even if the tent is completely shot, I'll be able to continue using it. Hopefully it won't collapse on me in the middle of the show. But I have a plan. Don't worry. All right. All right. Is anybody? I guess nobody else is here. It's just me and JEC. Well, that's fine. That is fine. JEC is enough. JEC can pull his own, I think. Today we'll be doing some Hollywoke Hot Take live, and if you have any screenplay questions or just general writing questions or any question, just jump in, give me the question. I'll finish my thought and then go to the question. I know I'm not great at that. I get anxious. I see the question. I'm like, oh, like, you shook keys at me. Ooh, keys. But yeah, we could get into some screenwriting tips, and I can talk about some of my writing tips if you are so inclined. All right, first, the big story. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez got married because apparently they're a glutton for punishment. Weren't they married before? Was he married to her before? I know they dated before, right? So I guess that's a done deal. I don't know why he did that. I don't know why anybody with that kind of money would get married. I guess maybe if you have your lawyers involved, your team of lawyers. I can only imagine the team J-Lo has. That's got to be a big team. I would say that would be at least 4 or 5 lawyers. Ben Affleck, he probably has at least 3, maybe more, maybe just as many. It's a status thing too. He might need to have more lawyers than her. And then the lawyers get together. They were, JEC says no, they were engaged. I think. Oh, okay. I knew they were dating though. I remember that. And then they did that horrible Kevin Smith movie. What was that called? Was it Geely or was it Jersey Girl? He bought her a giant diamond ring back in the day. I wonder why. I don't understand people. People are ruled by their emotions. They just get married. I mean, if I had that kind of money, I don't know, why would you get married? It just, maybe if you both started out kind of on the same level, and then you built up a business, or Jersey Girl. Okay, it was Jersey Girl. You both build up a business, or you both become famous. Then yeah, okay. You know, there are plenty of celebrity couples. Maybe they started together, but like, they're both mega, mega famous. They got piles and piles of money. Maybe they think their lawyers can protect them, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it does much protection for the man. That's for sure. Especially if you get married in California. I mean, I guess it's a status symbol still, or a symbol of like, oh, we're stable and normal people, but these days it seems like it's worthless. It seems like it's worthless as like, unless you have kids. If you have kids, then yeah, I get that, because then it's for the kids. But I think these two both have kids on their own? And I think J-Lo's too old for kids. She's got to be like 40, pushing 50, or 50 something. It's hard to tell. Some of these celebrities look really good for their age, right? I mean, she looks pretty good, I mean, she's older, but she looks good. She's in shape. Little bit of a double chin going there, but she's all right. she's in my league. She's in my age bracket. I was just on. I was at the show. I get bored and start flipping through the dating apps. What a hellscape! What an absolute hellscape it is to date in your 50s on Tinder. I mean, in your 20s, it must be like a endless buffet of hot chicks if you're halfway decent looking. But for someone in their 50s, like, it's just weird. It's so damn weird. But anyhow, what else we got here? This isn't really Hollywood, but it's media. Pew Research Center says 69% of left-leaning journalists say every side does not deserve equal coverage. Not much of a shock there, judging by the news that comes out, which is just so bad now. I mean, you have to understand, back in the 80s and 90s, people questioned the news in a different way. It would always be later. It'd be much more measured before the internet. People would write a book, and it was easy to dismiss some of that analysis back then because it wasn't so immediate. It happened years later. In the 80s, they were looking back on the 70s and the Watergate and things like that. And generally, the media did some cool stuff looking back into the 70s from the 80s. But then cable TV news came along, and that changed things, and people started talking about news as a commodity and infotainment. And then it really... people started to analyze it more, but it wasn't until the internet got big that it really just... I mean, there's so many people analyzing the internet now. Everything gets analyzed. It's like the only people not doing that analysis are the 69% of journalists who are just like, I'll just get an email from the Biden administration and I'll just repeat whatever the hell they say. I know, I'm getting really political right early in the stream. I know, but it's true. These people nobody really liked them before. Now they're absolutely, I know, Joe. They're absolutely hated. By the way, Joan's camera almost worked, but now it's not working. Now it's not working, Joan. You want to come over here? Come here. There you go. Oh, little Joan. There you go, fuzzy face. You smell a little better. Maybe it's because you didn't go outside all weekend. We got to get you on a WALK. That's what we're going to do after the live stream. But it's too freaking hot, and Joan is due for a grooming. As you can see, she's very fuzzy. Very fuzzy. Right, Joan? Okay. I know I'm a little low energy, a little laid back. A little laid back because I spent 2 days at setting up my table and taking it back down. Oh, this story. NCAA Woman of the Year nominee 23, who tied race with Leah Thompson, slams decision to nominate trans athlete for the award, as Martina Navratilova asks, not enough fabulous biological women athletes? Tennis legend Martina Navratilova and fellow NCAA swimmer, the University of Kentucky's Riley Gaines, are amongst those speaking out. Navratilova, who has won the most major titles in women's tennis in the Open era, took to Twitter to deride the nomination. Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. They keep giving trans people awards. Number one, I think most of the people aren't really trans. I think Leah Thomas in particular became trans just because it was a career move, and yeah, you can do it, and you'll make money right in this era. You just have to be willing to keep arguing. Yeah, I'm trans. Yeah. I don't think trans people want a lot of this drama. I think they have enough drama in their lives. I mean, gender dysphoria is no joke, and it's it's something to be dealt with. It's not easy. It causes a lot of issues. I don't think Leah Thomas is having any issues. Doesn't seem to be. Seems like she's skating through life now. So this all seems like everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, one after the other. And I was thinking the other day, and actually at the table today, because there was a trans girl across from me who had a booth. I think she was trans. She had the trans flag, so I assumed. I couldn't really tell. She was really chunky. But, I mean, I didn't argue with her or anything, but she was there. She was also in a wheelchair, which I found odd because she came in her own wheelchair, and I thought, oh my God, she's got to set up the table from that wheelchair. And then she got out of it and walked around and set up her table, and I thought, what? She's using the wheelchair sometimes? I guess some people have that, a condition. Anyhow, it just occurred to me that the people who keep pushing trans women, there's no difference between trans women as women, are really erasing trans women, right? Because if trans women are women, then there are no trans women. And isn't that the most transphobic thing you could possibly do? That's the way I see it. And I think a lot of these, and when me and Christian wrote Wokistan, Christian wrote a great chapter with a trans character, and talking about how it's, just being trans doesn't define her personality. And I think for a lot of the people who are trans in the public eye, it's all they talk about. It's all they are, JEC says, is it an electric wheelchair? Maybe they were just super lazy. No, it wasn't an electric chair. No, she was rolling, and she was rolling it through the grass too, which I thought, well, that's got to be more effort than just walking. Because we were outside at the farm, and we had to park far away. We got to bring in our cars and set up the tables. And then then they said, okay, go park in the vendor lot. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I start driving towards it, and it was like 3 acres over. And then I had to walk all the way back. which was weird because there was a lot of open space between that and the show. It seemed like we could have parked a lot closer and it wouldn't have made a difference, but that's what they wanted to do. It was also weird, too. They had food trucks, or they said they did, right? And I was like, ooh, food trucks. I love food trucks. And I usually don't really have time to grab anything, but I was hoping there'd be so many food trucks there I could just run to the least popular food truck and get some food. And so at one point I got up and I rushed over there, and all they had was an ice cream truck and a vegan taco truck. And the vegan taco place was just overwhelmed with people because it was the only real food there. And then they had an ice cream truck, and I thought, well, maybe there's something in the ice cream truck I could get. And they had frozen fruit on a stick, and that looked healthy. So I almost got that. And then I'm looking, and they had this, like, it was like this bowl of, like, berries, and I don't know if it was ice cream or some sort of weird cream, and, like, grains, you know, the quinoa bowl. It was $11. It has a little bowl, like a tiny bowl. $11? The night before, I had gone, and they had a truck at the Glassboro show that was a little barbecue truck, and they had $7 kebabs, which it's not bad. I mean, $7 for a kebab isn't the highest price. It's a little high, but for a food truck, it was alright. And it was tasty. But, you know, I think the hipsters picked all the food. So it was all vegan. And then a nice lady came to my table. She was very sweet. But she had a shirt on that said Chicken Rescue. And at first I thought it was a joke. And I almost said, oh my God, Chicken Rescue. That's hilarious. And but I didn't. And then we got to talking. And at some point she told me that she was a vegan and was very active in the community, and then I thought, oh, that shirt's not a joke. She probably is part of a chicken rescue thing. I gotta say, I hate chickens. I mean, if they weren't edible, I think I'd still kill chickens. I think they're the nastiest creatures imaginable. They're dirty and filthy. They're kind of nasty. They're like crabs. I think if you have a pet chicken, it would be like having a pet crab. I don't think it would ever really love you. I think it would just peck you. You know? Just pinch you. And chicken is delicious. Chicken is very delicious. Right, Joan? Joan goes back and forth with chicken. It's odd. Every once in a while, she has a real hankering for chicken. And she'll eat it, and then sometimes I'll put chicken out on a plate, and this little sucker won't eat a bite. Just goes, no chicken. The pork, we had pork 2 nights in a row, so she loved that. You love the pork, huh? Listen, I see you looking down on the ground. You want to get, if I put you down, this is a live stream. This is a live stream. I'm going to be here like for at least another 40 minutes, so don't make a fuss. Go get a drink or whatever. Yeah, so it was kind of odd, but everybody was nice. I mean, nobody was a jerk. The only odd moment came, it was a little odd. There was an older couple who were looking at my Wokistan novel books in Hollywoke, and I told them what it was about, and they seemed on board with it. But then they were like, "We're in a mixed group," which I took to mean that like they didn't want to start a political discussion amongst their little crowd, which I assume were probably relatives, which I can understand. So I give out little things so people can look up the books later. Looking at, okay. Now we're going to get into Thor. Going to get into some Thor and some of the Thor headlines. Oh, before that, now we'll save this for later. This is a white pill for later. Find all the Thor stuff. No, this is not a white pill. I'm ruining all the headlines. Where the hell? Okay. It's this one. Okay, first, the box office. Thor: Love and Thunder rules again with 46 million, which is not very high considering last week. But that's the Variety headline, right? All right. So then we go to box office. Thor: Love and Thunder stays number one with 46 million. Where the Crawdads Sing impresses with 17 million. I don't know about impresses with 17 million, but you know, it's a Hollywood Reporter, so they're only going to say positive things. Paws of Fury took the number 6 spot, earning 6.25 million. I thought that was low. I thought that would do better, but I don't think 17 million's a lot. And 46 million for Thor. If Thor was running against anything significant, I think it would have got clobbered. And then Cosmic Book News, Thor: Love and Blunder, box office crumbles. So let's go to the real numbers here at Box Office Mojo. So as you can see, got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday numbers now. Friday is off by, I believe, this is compared to last Friday. Now, last Friday was the opening, but this is down something like 80%. But it's they calculate the whole weekend, and then Saturday is down like 56%, and Sunday's down 57%. I don't know. I mean, Sunday isn't over yet, so I guess that number could go up. But doesn't seem like much, right, compared to last weekend. That's a pretty big drop. Basically gone from 144 million in a weekend to 46 million. I think that's a pretty big drop. I don't even know what the Crawdads is, says JDC. JZ. It's a movie based on a book. I did a thing on the trailer. It looked boring. It's a chick flick. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean, that's what it is. It's a book about relationships and this woman falling in love with two men, and they rival for her affections, and it's a whole drama. JEC. I mean, Thor will make money for sure, but the word of mouth was good as it was for Ragnarok. It would make over $1 billion for sure. I don't think it'll do that. Yeah, no. I mean, this is the international take is 712. It might hit $1 billion. But I think if it slowed down that much in 1 week, I mean, next week, if it was up against anything, they'd be absolutely effed. Absolutely effed. So if they had put, I don't know, like The Flash against this, which I don't think is going to be good, but it would have drawn people away. They would have completely ignored this movie. If they'd put The Flash the very next week, something like that, any big movie, would have. I mean, if Top Gun had opened this week, this would be dead. It would be just destroyed. So we're looking at 712 worldwide, but most of that comes from the international, and this is the kind of big budget movie that always does well internationally, because most movies overseas, they can't spend this kind of money on a movie. They don't have these cool effects, and so it just does well because it's just a big movie. It's just huge, your choices overseas are pretty limited, and I can only imagine what Hollywood does to the box office and the theaters overseas, where the rules aren't the same here. I mean, we have laws protecting people here. Like, some countries just don't. Some countries just have weird laws, and or none at all that protect little theaters. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're forced to run a damn movie, even if they don't want to. Um, I think it was smart to make it a PG-13 movie. I don't know. Were they all PG-13? I guess a lot of them were. You know, I don't think it would have done better with an R rating. So, I think it could hit $1 billion, but it might be a long road to get to $1 billion. Because I mean, so we're at 46 now. Next week, I think that's probably going to go down here. So you might get next week to like, I don't know, 270 next weekend. Although the whole week you'd still have a few million there. 270, 280. But internationally, who knows? Who knows? And who knows if these numbers are even real? You know, Hollywood is notorious for lying about all kinds of things. So, I mean, they could be cooking the books like crazy over this. I mean, they spent a S-ton of money on this movie. You know, I mean, do we have a... I wish they would put the damn... what's the name? The budget in these. Sometimes they have it. A lot of times it's just not announced. So, I gotta think a movie like this is at least $200 million. At least. There's a ton of CGI. Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, they don't both come cheap. Tessa Thompson, for some reason, still is acting. You got, I think, Idris Elba makes an appearance. Oh, he's got to be paid. I mean, there's a lot of big names in this thing. Oh, and Christian Bale, of course, as the villain. Big money for him. Yeah, they definitely backed the money truck up for Hemsworth and Christian Bale because they have to. So right there, I mean, and just in salary, this movie has to be like $100 million, probably close. At least like 50 to 70. And then the production itself, with all that CGI, not a tremendous on location though. No, just a couple of scenes. Most of it's all in studio, on green screen. I mean, a lot. Oh, Chris Pratt and all the Guardians of the Galaxy are in it. They're in the beginning. Yeah, so the salaries on this movie was out of control. And the director, Waititi, he's not cheap. He's not cheap after Ragnarok. No. No. So, and then if you figure, I don't know, 250 million, they gotta spend at least that amount. At least, they say you gotta double it for the rest of the budget. So you're looking at $500 million just to make this damn thing. So yeah, it's in profit mode, I guess. JEC. They pushed it back multiple times because of the lockdowns. Yeah, that's a big cost. Takes a lot of loans to make these movies. The longer they push them back, the more interest they have to pay on the loans. You can add another couple of $100 million onto that. Yeah. All right, yeah. So maybe this movie's just breaking even at this point. You know, it's $700 million. I mean, maybe. Plus, who knows? And they of course probably aren't going to get China with this. The gayest Marvel movie ever, according to Natalie Portman. So that's no good for making money. It's just I didn't think it would do this well, but you know, it's still riding on the Marvel zombies, right? You got the Marvel zombies; they're gonna watch anything now. I don't know how long it's gonna take to burn those people out. I mean, look how long it's taken to destroy Star Wars. You know? I mean, my brother is the biggest Star Wars fan ever. And he still kind of defended it. Even after getting burned by the movies, he complained about the movies. And he kind of liked the first one, I think. But definitely the second one, he was mad. And then, talking about like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I was like, people got excited in the first couple of episodes because they were pretty good. And then it just tanks after a while. I was like, you gotta watch the rest of it. You might be disappointed. So, I guess it's just going to be a slow. I guess Disney just knows they're just going to manage the decline at this point of Marvel. So I guess we're going to probably get a fifth Thor movie. I don't know what the hell they're going to do for that. Beta Ray Bill would have been great. Beta Ray Bill would have been the perfect out for Chris Hemsworth. Perfect out. They could have gotten any actor to play Beta Ray Bill. Literally any actor, because he's an alien. Would have been fantastic. And you would have probably ended it there. But so, I don't think a Beta Ray Bill movie would stand on its own, despite its popularity. So we got the Ant-Man movie in the pipeline, I think, next. That comes in 2023. I like Ant-Man. I still really like the whole concept. I like Paul Rudd. I thought the second movie was good. So, I don't know. They're probably going to ruin it on the third movie, but we'll see. They've ruined everything else. Why not ruin Ant-Man? I mean, it's not like the other ones where they have so much at stake. Ant-Man really is kind of a side character. Voice-generated AI James Earl Jones for Beta Ray Bill. That would be pretty funny. I have the power. That would be pretty funny. The AI JEC. Last Ant-Man felt like a sitcom. Yeah, it kind of was. I didn't mind it so much. I mean, it's just Ant-Man. I don't expect it to be Shakespeare. But, I don't know. They've kind of ruined the entire franchise for me. I mean, normally I would have loved to have gone seen Thor. If they weren't doing the Thor replaced by Natalie Portman story, I would have totally gone. Absolutely. Thor being replaced by Natalie Portman is just, no. It's a non-starter with me. There'd be no way I'll ever see this movie. I'll just never see it. I don't care. I've seen enough clips of it. I feel like I've seen the movie. So, I don't care. I'll complain about it. I'll complain about movies I haven't seen. Try and stop me. I'm not giving these people my money, is what it boils down to. No more money from me. No. If I see this movie, it'll probably be, I'll be at a comic book convention somewhere and go off to the after party, and somebody will have it on TV with no sound on and the subtitles on, and I'll keep glancing at the screen going, is that what they did in the movie? Oh, that's kind of okay. Oh, that's horrible. And somebody will defend it, and I'll get into a big argument and never be invited back. That's my life in the world of comics. Never invited back. But, yeah, we'll see how this does. I mean, if it dropped off to like, I don't know, 20 million next week, oofa. That could, maybe it won't make a billion then. So, let's see. How much more does it have to make? It has to make $270 million. If it maintains, say, 40 million, it would take 7 weeks. Yeah, I think it might fall short. But see, the international box office is just so high. It's double. So, it's making about 80 a week. So figure next week it makes like 20 and 40, that's 60. So if it's like averaging about 50 a week, by the end of the month it might just squeak over the line. But I think it'll probably top out at about like 880, maybe 880, 890, maybe just 900 million, like Doctor Strange. I think it'll be short of Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange probably had the multiverse concept going for it, which, and then it had the Wanda fans. I mean, there is a contingent of WandaVision fans. Don't ask me why. That another thing that was a total non-starter for me. The moment they announced that WandaVision show, it's going to be like they're trapped in a sitcom, like kill me. No, so overdone that, and not interesting at all. God, talk about Hollywood digging up its old BS. Worst idea imaginable. So yeah, I'm going to clock it at about 880. All right, a couple more headlines. Craig Robertson evacuated from North Carolina Comedy Club where a gunman opened fire. This was in Charlotte. I've been to Charlotte. It is a little sketchy there. JC says, I think Thor will do around the same as Doctor Strange. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a little short. Thor should do way better than Doctor Strange. It's going to be a long, slow, sad decline. It'll take a while. I don't know. I don't think Ant-Man, as much as I like Ant-Man, I don't think Ant-Man's going to do well at all. I think Ant-Man will tank. Will absolutely tank. I'll be like one of the few people like mildly interested in seeing it. And then I probably won't go see it because I'll hear the buzz on it and I'll just go, screw this. Well, I'm not giving these people my money. And then I won't go. So, because that's the next one, right? I mean, it's going to be Ant-Man. I don't think that's a strong entry now. But, and if that tanks, then, I mean, they're already, if this movie just drops off, if Thor drops off and it scrapes to, let's say it ties Doctor Strange, it doesn't feel like it did very well. If it drops off in like 3 or 4 weeks, not like Spider-Man. Jesus, that was a beast. And Top Gun, they'll be like the second tier movies at this point, but I mean, I guess it's profitable. But Craig Robinson is at the Comedy Zone. Both Craig Robinson's shows for Sunday have been canceled, and attendees to Saturday night shows would receive refunds. Well, it's nice to know if somebody starts shooting at your stand-up show, Craig will refund your money. What the hell, man? Who the hell would start shooting at a comedy show? He was scheduled to perform at the venue when a man entered the building around 9 p.m., brandished a gun. Those inside the venue were evacuated, after which the suspect discharged his weapon. Authorities say the suspect was detained and that no one was injured. Well, that's good. The Hollywood Reporter has reached out to the police department for further comment. In a message posted to Instagram on Sunday afternoon, Robertson offered his thanks to the venue and local authorities for their action. Thank you to the Comedy Store. Oh my God, what a typo. It's the Comedy Store, and they wrote Comedy Zone, S-O-N-E. Security and staff for getting us out safe and quickly. Thank you to everyone for outpouring of support and well wishes. Thank you, CMPD, for swift action in apprehending the shooter. Hopefully he gets the help he needs. Okay. That's kind of a weird way to end it. Thanks be to God no one was hurt. Please stay safe, everyone. Hopefully he gets the help he needs. I don't know. Maybe the guy was coming to get you. Sounds like he needs help in, like a jail cell would help him. I mean, he did come into the club and fire off a gun. I mean, in a comedy club of all places. All right, so that's about it. Yeah, so I guess he never got to do his show. Yeah, he was in the green room, and then they just told everybody to get out. That's messed up. Now he's got to worry about. Can you imagine? Then he has to come back and do his show, and now he's got to worry. Oh crap! Is this going to be safe? He's getting heavier, by the way. He looks heavier. That is not good. I would like Craig to lose some weight because he's getting older, man. Can't be that heavy. Can't be that heavy when you're getting older. You gotta cut out those sweets, Craig. Cut out the sweets. All right, finally, this is the white pill I accidentally showed you earlier. Beastie Boys to be immortalized with Beastie Boys Square in New York City. Isn't this weird? I mean, I kind of dig it, but it's very strange that they decided to give the Beastie Boys a square, isn't it? All the bands that have come out of New York City and they honor the Beastie Boys? I mean, it's weird. The New York City Council has voted to officially bestow the name Beastie Boys Square upon the intersection of Ludlow and Rivington Street in New York City. The corner popularized by the rap trio's 1989 album Paul's Boutique. Council member Christopher Marte confirmed in an interview with local news channel Pix 11 that the effort, which has been pushing for the official dedication for about 9 years, has officially achieved its goal. Okay. It's just weird. But, I mean, congrats to them. I guess. Now, but it's so weird, isn't it? It's like the Beastie Boys, you know? Like, it's so establishment to get something like that done. This is the kind of thing that should happen after you're dead. You know? I know one of the Beastie Boys is dead, but yeah, it just seems, it's like having a rest stop or a ship named after you. It should happen after you're gone. So people remember you, you know, after you're gone. I mean, so many people have died recently, it seems. Who just died? Well, that comedian died, but he wasn't super famous. God. I'm drawing a blank now. A NASCAR racer. He died, but like I can understand if they named, like, I don't know, one of the repair pits in NASCAR after that race car guy, because he was kind of famous in that world or whatever. Oh God, I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody I'm forgetting. I mean, like David Bowie. Like if they named a street after David Bowie or a square, I'd be like, sure. David Bowie was super famous. And he was kind of an icon in New York for a while. I mean, he did I Am a DJ, the music video. He walks through the streets of New York, kissing dudes. It's kind of iconic. I could see, like, David Bowie. But, like, two of the Beasties are still alive. And it's a weird name, too. Beastie Boys Street. Beastie Boys Square. Like, you know. It's like, what... People 100 years from now. And they go, oh, what is this place? This is Beastie Boys Square. Oh, what did some gang used to run this place? I don't know. I don't know, what were Beastie Boys? Were they boys? Were they like werewolves? Let's use the search engine of the future to find out. Oh, they were a band. That's weird. Bowie ain't from New York though. Beastie Boys are. It's true. It's true, but he was in New York a lot. You know, he was very New Yorker. Bowie was, I thought. I mean, way more than L.A. You know, he did stuff in L.A. too, but he always felt like, you know, because he was very Americanized too. He was always here. He felt like more like a New Yorker. Like the Stones live in like England, and the Beatles. Beatles were more like George Harrison was kind of an L.A. guy. Like Ringo Starr's kind of an L.A. guy. Paul McCartney was more of a London guy or UK guy, but John Lennon was a New York guy because he lived in New York. That's what, you know, because he died in New York, I guess, Strawberry Fields, but he was in Berlin a lot too. Yeah, that's true. He was all over. Yeah, it's true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the Beastie Boys. I love them. I love their music. I love their whole deal. I kind of hope they never go back on tour now that MCA is gone, but you know, I would hate to see the other two. I mean, I guess they could go on tour, but like, do they really need to? Do they really need to do Beastie Boys live without the third? You know, it just, like with Paul McCartney doing stuff without John Lennon, like he was one of the main guys. He wrote songs, you know. Even Ringo wrote songs, but I don't know. It seems like in a rap group, you kind of have to have they all rap together, you know, all three of them. I don't know. They'll probably go on tour. Everybody does. It's all about money. I know, it's cynical, but it really is. It's all about money. And who am I to say? Like, if I could make that kind of money, I'd probably do it too. I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I need a boat. I need a new boat. A yacht. Bigger than my old yacht. I need a Beastie Boys yacht and a Beastie Boys marina so I can park my yacht. Yeah, let's go back on tour. So, what are we at? We're at 7:47. All right, so I was going to do screenwriting tips. So JEC, if you want to jump in with any questions, we don't have our normal. Ardent would have been the guy who would have been all over the screenwriting tip thing. But he's got his own live stream. So, these days I'm not writing a ton of screenplays. I'm writing more sitcom-y stuff, which is interesting because it's shorter and punchier, and you know, it kind of has a 3-act structure, but it's very tight. Like, so I'm writing these 10-page sitcoms right now, and the act breakdown is there's an opening, which is a page, and then basically it's 3 pages an act with maybe an extra page or two tops. So it's very quick. Like, things just move forward instantly. It's kind of like the difference between writing a comic book and a comic strip. Everything has to be crunched down. I should go on his live stream, crossover. Yeah, one of these days we'll do something. I'm always so busy on the weekends, though, this time of year. Probably until Christmas. So maybe around Christmas holidays when things slow down. My goal is to do a signing every single weekend from now until I can't, basically. Because, I mean, money is tight, man. Need money. So I'm booked every weekend in July, except, you know, I couldn't book the 4th. That you can't book the 4th. So I got two more weekends to book in August. The the first one and the last one, and then August will be filled, and September's already starting to fill up. And yeah, I met some people at the show who want me to do some signings, so that was really nice. But yeah, getting back to doing sitcoms, they're very, very tightly written. So you got to get to the punchline, like boom, boom, boom. And, comedy is in threes, so you got to do everything in threes. So each act becomes almost a move in that 3-act structure to get to the final joke, whatever it is. And I actually wrote, the last one I wrote, I came up with the ending joke first, and then realized, ooh, I have to save this joke for the end because this is going to be the funniest move. And so I cut it out and moved it to the end, and then wrote a bunch of stuff that led up to that. So it's important if you're writing 3-act stuff, especially if you're doing comedy, that the biggest bit be at the end. Sometimes you just write something and you've got this great scene and you put it at the beginning and you realize, oh no, this can't go here. And you just move it. You have to. Or you have to come up with something even bigger, which I guess is possible, but sometimes it's just not. With the sitcom, it's a very limited budget, so there's only so much I could do. I can't do like big effects or can't do a lot of locations. I'm very limited on locations. So this is the kind of writing I do for clients where I tell them, give me a list of all the things you have access to, right? So this is a sitcom and he has access to about a dozen different locations in and around where he lives. Like just enough that, I can keep mixing it up pretty good. And make each episode feel a lot different because he has, you just keep rotating the locations or using them in different ways. And it shakes it up a bit. And then one of the things he does, which is kind of cool, he came up with this. He wanted to do a doctor's office, but he didn't have access to a doctor's office. But he noticed that his apartment hallway kind of looked like a doctor's office. If you've ever seen those things they put on doctor's offices for charts, you can slide the chart in. So what he did was he went and he bought those plastic chart things, and he put them on his door in the apartment complex and hid his eye hole or whatever, his peephole. And so he shot it in such a way that it looks like he's at a doctor's office and runs into another doctor and talks to her and they have an interaction. And so whenever we do a scene where he's at work, because the character's a doctor, we can have a scene like that. We can't actually show him examining a patient because we don't have a room with all the exam stuff, but we can show that and kind of cheat the whole thing. And then we also do a scene that takes place in a therapist's office, but it's really just his apartment, one of the walls, and a couch and a pillow, and it just looks kind of like a therapist's office if you just frame it the right way. So that's the cheap way to squeeze more locations out, because if you can shoot everything inside your apartment or your house, it's a lot easier. But it has to be written that way. But sitcoms, they're that way, They just have very humdrum locations because they're all about the jokes or the dialogue. It's not about hanging off a cliff or having a fight in a fireworks factory or anything like that. So that's been fun to write that. But it's been ages since well, no, not ages. Last year I wrote a couple of screenplays for him. But I guess I was going to say it's been ages since I wrote one of my own screenplays. I've got like a bunch of screenplays, but it's so hard to sell a screenplay. It's just, nobody reads in Hollywood. That's part of the problem. So the work I get is more like, it's more pragmatic now. It's like, what does my client need? If it's an actor, I write for the particular actor or director or whatever. And that way, you're writing something that's probably going to get made, or at least has a chance at getting made. And it's exactly what they want. So, most people have this idea that you write screenplays and then they're tossed around Hollywood until somebody makes them. But they kind of don't do that anymore. Everybody's got a screenplay and no one reads them in LA. They just don't read them. And so it's better just to, from a money standpoint, is just go to them if they'll even talk to you and say, what do you want? And then write something for them. And a lot of guys, that's how they break in too. Like, when certain screenplays or genres are hot, that's all they write. They just start writing those like over and over again and then shop them around until that genre dies. Like right now, I guess there's still a thirst for superhero stuff. Don't ask me why. I'm so sick of superheroes. I mean, that's one of the reasons, like, I'm not that disappointed I'm not going to go see Thor. It's just, I mean, even if they didn't do Thor Love and Thunder or whatever the hell it's called, if they'd done, and if they didn't do Beta Ray Bill, I mean, I don't know what they would have done. I guess they would have just done some epic story where, it would have been cooler, maybe something with the Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, but I think it still would have been like, seen it, been there, done that. I mean, after you destroy Valhalla, what are you supposed to do? That was the big, to me, that was the ending. When they destroyed Valhalla, it was like, well, Valhalla's gone. Anthony Hopkins is dead. It's like, in comics you always come back, but in movies it just, they push it forward. So, they did all this stuff in the comics, but then it all came back, right? So, and then for some reason I saw that they brought Sif back in Thor, which is weird because Thor's supposed to be married to Sif, right? I mean, that's Thor's wife. So, but he's messing around with Natalie Portman, I guess, or she's pushing him around. I don't know. Keep talking about damn Thor. Forget Thor. There's plenty of other movies coming out. Out of all the stuff, let's go over to. See if I can find it here. Go over to my channel. Because the American Gigolo TV series I just looked at, starring John Bernthal, the Punisher, Shane from Walking Dead. That looks good. That looks really good. Because like American Gigolo, I mean, I guess it was a good movie. I don't remember much of it. I just remember the song, but the Blondie song, which is awesome. But this show does look decent. It looks well made. They got a lot of names. Rosie O'Donnell's in it as a detective, which is weird, but Wayne Brady is his pimp, so that looks cool. And even this looked good with Patton Oswalt. I know it's like Patton Oswalt. I can't stand him, but this actually looks funny. It's about a dad who gaslights his son because he's trying to be closer to his son, and his son cuts him off of social media, so he pretends to be somebody else to get close to him, but he pretends to be a girl, and the son falls in love with her. So it looked pretty funny. What else came out that's good? I mean, there's just so many movies. It's just endless. The Munsters, which I'm totally biased for. I like that. I mean, I think it'll at least be mildly amusing. This Day Shift trailer wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I mean, vampire action movie. Yeah, it doesn't look great. Looks okay. Yeah, not a whole lot recently, but there's been some good stuff that came out, and let's see if I can get to my playlist here. Lotus Cedars live stream. Where is it? Where is my playlist? All right. Oh, these are all my other playlist. I thought this would be my playlist for. All right, let me go back here. The videos. Okay. How do I get to this? Screenwriters Rant. Oh, okay. All right. This is what I wanted. Yeah. What else was good? There was a pretty recent one. No. Still got crap from before the lockdown coming out, says JC. Yeah. Oh, Emily the Criminal with Aubrey Plaza looks good. That looks really good. This Amsterdam movie looks good. I think this is with Christian Bale. Looks decent. Clerks 3 looks bad. Looks really bad. There's Thor. Oh, this Louis C.K. movie looked good too. 4th of July. And Ticket to Paradise looked moderately okay. I think it's going to do really well. That's George Clooney and Julia Roberts in a movie together as a divorced couple getting back together, kind of, for their daughter's wedding. What was it? Oh, I know what it was. It was this new movie called Vengeance, and it stars the guy from The Office, Ryan from The Office. And that looks really good. And the premise is, I don't know if I have it here. Must have been a few months ago. Yeah, here it is. No, V for Vengeance? No, that's not it. It's just called Vengeance. It's a weird name for the kind of movie it is. It's kind of a quirky comedy. So the premise is, he hooked up with this girl for a while, and she dies after they hooked up for a while, and then she dies, like, after he was done seeing her. And he feels bad, and he gets invited to the funeral, so he goes. And it turns out she told her family that they were way closer than they were. Like, she told them, like, he was her soulmate and that they were engaged, and he didn't. Here it is, The Vengeance. So he gets there, and, like, her crazy brother wants to thinks that she was murdered, and he's like hipster city boy, and these are all people from Texas, like, and he makes them all look like hillbillies. Anyhow, he decides to do a podcast about his situation, like a typical hipster, and convinces his boss to let him do it, like a true crime podcast for a conspiracy theory about this girl's death. And so he starts working on it, but of course they tried to kill him, and it turns out, yeah, she was probably murdered by somebody. and then they have to solve the crime, him and the brother. So it looked pretty cool to me because there was a lot going on with it, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to start solving the murder, and at some point it's going to be revealed that he just wasn't that close to her, and they're going to find out, and then think he's a total scumbag, and but he wants to go forward and solve the murder because now he's kind of figured it out and he believes it, and they tried to kill him. So it looks pretty funny. So there are lots of cool stuff coming out, and of course, if you want to see Kevin Spacey in what will probably be his last movie, there's a movie called Peter 5'8", which looks absolutely psychotic, and Rebecca De Mornay is in it. Watch the trailer. It's just nuts. What happens in the trailers is nutty enough. I can't imagine the movie holding together. It looks totally insane. About a guy who was hired to ruin a woman's life and then falls in love with Rebecca De Mornay, but kind of goes through what his boss wants him to do, and at some point he's just out in the middle of the street and pulls out a rifle and just starts shooting people in the town. It's absolutely crazy insane for Kevin Spacey, of all people, to have been cast in this movie. He must have really needed the money, I figure, or he thought it was interesting, I guess, and then he could just carry the movie. I mean, Rebecca De Mornay, she's a bit of a name, not anymore, but kind of. The whole thing looks... this was before he got dragged back into court again on sexual assault charges. So, I think he's done, but this is going to be his last movie, and it just looks nuts. It's probably going to go direct to video, I would imagine. So, anyhow, I'm going to wrap it here, JEC. So if you have any further comments, let me know now. I'm a little low energy this week. Just doing a lot of work. And it's so damn hot today. So damn hot. I've never been so happy that my air conditioner, when I got back home, was just rolling in the cool. And I came into the house and I was like, oh my God, yes. Because it's so damn humid outside. All right, thanks for tuning in, JEC, and hanging out. For those of you tuning in later, Ardent, we'll see you in the next